Discuss Joseph Andrews as a comic epic in prose, comment on the epic and comic element in Joseph Andrews. Henry Fielding wanted Joseph Andrews to be accepted as a comic epic in prose. He believed that a comic epic in prose is quite a new genre and he was keen to explore its possibilities. Combining the idea of prose epic and as an epic poem, Fielding evolves a new genre comic epic in prose. In his preface to Joseph Andrews, Fielding has differentiated his comic epic in prose from both a comic romance and a serious romance. He tells us that, like an epic, his comic epic in prose embraces dignity and seriousness of purpose. The comic epic in prose chiefly promises a variety of characters involved in a very comprehensive action. The novelist's tone is light, even frivolous, and he gives mildly satirical, ironical exposition of the ridiculous. It is epical in scale and it is comic. Since it is highly down to art realistic, it is nor history or it is not a superficial study of events or nor it is a burlesque. It is true that we can term Joseph Andrews as a comic epic poem in prose because it has almost all the basics that are important for labeling it as a comic epic poem in prose. Fielding himself termed it as comic epic in prose in the preface to Joseph Andrews. Fielding claims that he was founding a new genre of writing, but this was not entirely accurate. There was a long tradition of such writing before him, though it was not completely developed or established. According to Aristotle, Homer had produced a comic epic in verse, but again, according to Aristotle, verse is not the only criterion for poetry. Fielding has only combined the ideal of comic epic and prose epic to produce what he termed as comic epic poem in prose. An epic is a story of a visible man who falls from success to hardship because of some error of judgment, that is, hamartia. His death is, however, not essential, but his fall arise a sense of pity and fear in us. It also has a heroic style and bombastic language, and an epic poem is just reverse to it in most of its prerequisites except a few. A heroic epic has a conspicuous hero, grand theme, a continuous action, a journey to underworld, wars, digression, discovery, high seriousness, a high moral lesson, and bombastic diction in it. And in Joseph Andrews, there is an ordinary hero, a journey from one place to another, mock wars, digressions, discovery, humor, a high moral, and a bombastic diction in it. So it can be termed as comic epic poem in prose. We can also call Joseph Andrews as the Odyssey on the road because both the works, Homer's Odyssey and Fielding's Joseph Andrews, in the first place involve a journey. Unlike a heroic epic, the hero of Joseph Andrews is an ordinary boy. He is a footman of Lady Booby who has fallen in love with him. But Joseph is very innocent and virtuous. Therefore, he leaves the service of Lady and goes to meet his beloved Fanny. On the way, he has to face many hardships. Though the action of the novel is not as great as the action of an epic, yet it is enough to term the novel a comic epic. Joseph sets out for London to Somersetshire to see Fanny. On the way, Joseph crosses many roads, highways, countrysides, stays at many inns, and meet many people. All this constitute a big action. Though the journey of Joseph Fielding satirizes the society of the day and ridicules them, the corrupt and hypocritical clergy, Parson Fribular and Parson Barnabas, individuals like Lady Booby and Mrs. Slipslop, the Square of Fools and the Square of False Promises have been satirized. Elements of wars is very important in an epic and it is no exception in Joseph Andrews. We see a war took place in an inn where Joseph was insulted by the host. Parson Adam was annoyed and challenged the host. There started the first war between both the parties. Soon Mrs. Slipslop and landlady also joined in the battle. There are many other epical elements in the novel to call it a comic epic. Another epic convention is the use of digression. There are two major digressions in Joseph Andrews. There are seemingly irrelevant stories of Leonora and Mr. Wilson. Epic writers consider them as embellishments. Fielding, however, makes the interpolations thematically relevant, for these are not really irrelevant in reality. Formula of discovery, as described by Aristotle, an essential element of an epic, has also been used by Fielding. In the end of the novel, we see that Joseph is recognized to be Mr. Wilson's child and Fanny as sister of virtuous Pamela. Why seriousness is an important element in epic, but in Joseph Andrews there is a great deal of comedy and humor because it is an epic novel. But behind this comedy there lies a serious purpose of reformation. We have a gamut of vain and hypocritical characters in Parson Tribular, Parson Barnabas, passengers in the stagecoach, Mr. Tovos, Mrs. Slipslop, Peter Pounce, and the various squires. The surgeon and the lawyer and the magistrate are also some other examples of hypocrisy and vanity. Each of these characters provide a great deal of humor and amusement under a serious purpose. Every epic has a moral lesson in it, and this is no exception with a comic epic. Fielding's views on morality are practical, full of common sense and tolerance, liberal, flexible, and more realistic. These are devoid of prudish and rigid codes. Fielding wanted to tear the veil of vanity and hypocrisy.